welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to try and wrap up my 5-star predictions video. This is a video that I filmed pretty early on my booktube channel. I think I filmed it, I know it was one of the first videos I posted, so I probably filmed it back in August. So it's taken me a while to read all of these books. I had 6 books on my list of 5-star predictions. I think I said in that video that because I give out so few 5-star ratings, I was considering to be more of a books I thought I'd really going to enjoy and give high ratings to kind of list, and not necessarily 5 stars. But you know, I just called it 5-star predictions video. So today I'm just going to quickly try and go through the books that I read for that video and what my final rating ended up being. I'm not going to really talk much about these books because I've already talked about them a lot on this channel. You already know how I feel about them basically. So I'm going to try and be brief. Can I do that? One thing I've learned during my time on booktube is that I struggle to be brief with my videos. They always end up being way longer than I anticipate. But we'll see. I'm going to try. So here are the 6 books that I chose to put on my 5-star predictions list. So I think I'm just going to go through them from the lowest rating to the highest rating. I ended up giving 1 book 4 stars, 2 books 4.5 stars, and 3 books I gave 5 stars to. So overall, pretty good, I think. But let's start with the book that I gave 4 stars to, and that is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This one I read pretty recently. I think I read it back in April. And like I said, I gave this one 4 stars, and I think that if I'd read this, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, which I think was around the time that I actually bought this book, so it's been on my bookshelf for a while. If I'd read it back then maybe I would have given it a higher rating, because I was just a lot more into YA fantasy back then, because this was a really good fantasy book. It was really unique. It was really like the conflict or the intrigue, it was really like complicated. It wasn't black and white, and overall I really liked this. The one thing that I kind of brought it down a little bit was just like the romance, which felt a little bit over the top and maybe kind of just very YA, I guess. But still, really good book. I think if you like fantasy, you might really enjoy this one. Then I have 2 books that I gave 4.5 stars to. The first of those being Loveless by Brandon Sanderson. This one was the final book out of this list that I read. So this one I read very recently and I really enjoyed it. Took me a while to get through, but like I shouldn't really be that surprised by that, because this is a huge book with tiny font. So what else did I think was going to happen really? But yeah, really enjoyed this one. It was just a really good, solid adult fantasy book. So I'm just looking forward to read more by Brandon Sanderson, because I had a very good start to reading his fantasy books. And the other book that I gave 4.5 stars to was Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. This one I read back at the end of 2020, so I think maybe December. It's been a while. And one thing you should know about me is that I forget details in books very quickly, which is why I also always struggle to answer questions for like in tags and stuff when they ask about like kind of specifics about books, because I don't remember. I basically remember like the overall feeling I had reading the book, and I can actually remember like atmosphere in books more than I can remember like details and characters and all that stuff. So like even though this is like 6 months since I read, I don't remember it super vividly, but I do remember the atmosphere. I really like the atmosphere in here, and like overall I really like this book. I like the story, I like the characters. Like I said, it's super atmospheric. So yeah, very solid book. Highly recommend. It's a YA paranormal, I guess, but like very good. Then let's move on to the books that I gave 5 stars to, which there are 3 of. The first one of those being The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. This one I think was the book that I was the most unsure of when I put it on my list. And the main reason for that was just that I'd heard this book being described as whimsical. And like that's a word, like I've heard that being used about other books as well. and some of those books have been books that I haven't enjoyed that much, so I wasn't sure. And also it's been blurred by Sean McGuire, and I've read part of her like Wayward Children series. I wasn't a huge fan, unfortunately. So I wasn't sure about this one, if it would be for me. But you will have seen if you watched my video that I ended up really enjoying this. I buddy read this with Liz from For Booking Out Loud, which was a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm happy that my 5-star prediction ended up being correct with this one, and I actually really enjoyed it. My next 5-star book was Loveless by Alice Oseman. And this was, I think, probably the first book that I read out of this list, so it's been a while. I also made like a separate reading vlog for this. This one feels a little bit different than the other books, because this one I feel was the most, I don't know what to call it, like emotional 5-star rating for me. Like, I'm wondering, like, this just hit me emotionally very, very hard. Just because, you know, this is a book about an Arrow Ace main character. It's about like discovering that about yourself and coming to terms with it and all that stuff. It's really much focused around that and that journey. And for those of you who don't know, I am Arrow Ace, so this book just meant a lot to me. And I have been wondering, like, would I have given it 5 stars if it wasn't for that representation and that story? I don't know, but for that reason, I think because it hit me so hard, it is a 5-star book for me. I really, really love it. So if you want to like read a book about this subject, then definitely read this one. And the final book on my list that I gave 5 stars to was Felix Ever After by Kaysen Callender. This is also a book that I read quite early on in this process. I think I read it back in maybe September-ish. I really love this one. It was basically just everything I hoped it would be. Like, it was kind of messy. The journey wasn't a simple one, but it was really, really satisfying, I felt. If I was to pick one book from this list that I would put on the very top of like favorites, maybe I would have picked this one. I'm not completely sure, but yeah, this was one of my favorite books that I read last year. It is a YA contemporary, and it's one of the best ones that I read in a while, so highly recommend this one. So that was my wrap up of my 5-star predictions video. Did I learn anything from this? I don't know. I guess I'm pretty good at predicting what books I'm going to enjoy. The fact that I didn't have any books that was lower than 4 stars, I think, is pretty good. So if anything, maybe that. But yeah, all in all, this was a pretty fun experience. It took me a while to get through all these books, but like honestly, I expected it to be worse. Like, it always takes me a while to get to books. So the fact that I can wrap this up like, I don't know, 10 months after I started this video, it sounds like a long time, but I know it could have been a lot worse. So pretty happy with that overall. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Was I able to be brief? I don't know, I've been filming for like 11 minutes now, so hopefully this video won't be too long. I do hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, you can always hit like down below, or you can subscribe to my channel if you want to watch more videos from me. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye!